Hey everybody, welcome back to HitPoint, an anime news show, a JRPG news show, a niche news show, a show where Baku and I will be talking about anything and everything that catches our interest and or ire. We stream live every single Sunday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be previewing trailers, talking about upcoming awesome games from MAGFEST. Baku, how are you doing today? We will also be responding to any super chats received at the end of the show. It is so good to see you. How are you doing today?
Likewise, man. I'm just tired, man. It's like school's kicking my butt a little bit this semester. It is the last semester, but it's working as non-magic.
Yeah.
But other than that, I feel like I'm fully recovered from that bronchitis episode from Vietnam. So I feel pretty good. We just had.
I'm glad we could
New
trade.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we just had Lunar New Year in my household. So happy Lunar New Year to everyone who celebrated it. It was this past Wednesday, so probably should have said something. Actually, no, that the last show was 2 weeks ago, so I guess I didn't get a chance to say it. But happy Lunar New Year's. I celebrated with my family, got to see my nephews. Everything is chill. So life's good, and I should stop complaining.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
How about you?
All right, it's my turn to complain then. Hey, everybody, I just got over COVID. It sucks. It's the worst. It is the worst. And I'm doing everything I can to like bring out my inner energy today. So if you could all just, send me your energy, that'd be really awesome because despite the fact that my fever broke like 3-4 days ago, I can actually taste my food again. It's great.
Ooh.
I'm so tired and I still feel sick, like you get that feeling in like up here in your sinuses and you're just like, I should not go anywhere today. That is exactly like, that is my fuel, but I'm going to power through it because I'm not contagious. I'm fine. I am okay. Yeah. Sick point. Exactly. Dude, bro, man, something word. Yeah, man, I have been streaming lately though, which is interesting. The last couple of days I streamed yesterday and this morning. Yesterday I was able to somehow do like a 7.5 hour stream of Trails into Reverie. It was a lot of fun. And I did it again this morning for about like 3 hours, but then I'm like, all right, I'm done. gotta pull myself together for tonight's show, but that's
well. I'm glad you're still up for it. We were contemplating on whether or not we should like not do it. But if Derek's up for it, I'm up for it. And if you guys are up for it, we're up for it. So we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're here. And we've got a lot of things to go over. Maybe that's part of the reason why we feel like, we should still have the show.
That is a pretty big part of it. There's a couple of really cool things that happened. We'll talk about a lot of the stuff from MAGFEST. And then we have something cool that we got to talk about that we're going to be doing next week. So I'll go ahead and just, preview that now or hint at it. We have another interview with an indie dev scheduled for next weekend, and I am really looking forward to it. I've been eyeing this indie for what feels like years now. I don't think it's actually been years, but it's definitely been several months. I think about this time last year was planning out a video to talk about the various indie RPGs that I was excited for. That video ended up not really coming out. But this was on that list, and it is none other than Godshard Chronicles.
Yes.
Oh man, dude, did you know? Well, yeah, I think you knew. Guys, did you know that Noriyuki Iwadare is making a couple of songs for this? And that's really awesome. Noriyuki Iwadare was the person behind the music of Lunar and Groundia. Solid games. Solid OST.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so when the opportunity came up through the grapevine that they're accepting potentially interviews and other kind of media, kind of appearance, we're like, hey, would you like to maybe come on our humble channel? And they're like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Despite the time difference, because they do reside in a different country, and
we tend to do that a lot. Apparently,
and I do want to bring it up only because of that, and we have to make it work for them for a live show. Next Sunday's show is going to be quite a bit earlier, a couple hours earlier to make up for the difference. But so if you can't be there live,
we're hoping to do it exactly at the same time as the Super Bowl halftime show.
Is it Super Bowl?
I just found out that Eagle Knight says so. So who knows? It could be. It might not be. I don't know.
Well, you know,
I know
what's
nothing
the
about
great
football.
thing
I'm really banking that my audience hates or has as little interest in football as I do.
Sport ball, yay! No, what's going to be great? It's the VOD will be there, so don't worry. You know, if you can't be there in person, we understand. But please swing by to watch the VOD so that you can tell YouTube that we're still relevant even during Super Bowl.
Still relevant? We were relevant once?
I mean,
you know, at least tell YouTube that you still like us. That's how you do it.
That's right.
It's all right.
That's right. So make sure to not tune in at 8 because it won't be at 8 p.m. Eastern next Sunday. It will be earlier than that. So, man, I'm excited for the show. I'm excited for the week. I'm excited for the things that we'll be doing this year. As a matter of fact, we are sitting almost, just past 750, like 760 something subs. We're trying to hit 1,000. So if you're listening to this podcast, if you're watching it right now, tell your friends, man. Tell your friends about us who might be interested in game news and all that. We don't do a lot of these like advertisement, but man, we're trying to hit that 1,000, dude. Like
Baku's really wants me to hit that 1,000, so I
do.
am forced to stream some more. What was it? Not Resident Evil. What was the goal?
No, it's not Resident Evil.
Was it stream part 2 of
Silent Hill?
Silent Hill, yeah. The remake. Yeah. Yeah. Let's just say Baku's got his own reward in mind here.
Have some ulterior motive, and that is to get Derek to play Silent Hill 2. But hey, I'm sure you guys enjoy watching Derek play Silent Hill 2. Play Silent Hill 2.
I'm a pro horror stream gamer. Horror game streamer.
I have,
even.
You know.
I'm something of a coward myself.
The thrill reminds you that you're still alive, right? So it's nice.
Yeah.
Tell your friends about us. Anyone who's interested in RPGs and all kinds of fun stuff. We do a podcast every weekend. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's about the intro sorted. So let's talk about some upcoming game releases.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So let's
hang on. Is that this one? This week's release. That's the one.
This week's release. Well, we did skip a week, so there's one that's been passed, and then there's one that's coming up. And the consequence of Derek being sick is I'll be doing most of the talking today. I know you guys are disappointed.
I'll do what I can.
Hearing Derek's magnificent voice, but you'll just have to make do. We'll keep the show short and keep the stuff rating shorter. All right. Hey, why don't we just go ahead and take a look at the trailer, and then we can talk about this next game called Phantom Brave: The Lost Hero that already came out only a couple days ago, but we should take a look at it because I want to hype over this.
All right. As long as we do so responsibly.
Well, I mean, it's out. Do we have to be responsible anymore? Can we be irresponsible if it's out?
You absolutely do have to responsibly hype Mr. Baku. It's on a t-shirt. It makes it a fact. I'll have you know. You can get that t-shirt at shop.superdarkrpgs.com.
I love the segue. You've been learning from LTT. So yeah, okay. So this is, as you guys might know, the sequel to the previous Phantom Brave, and I still think it's kind of crazy that they waited all these years to release the sequel. I think when the original came out, it was like before PSP. I think it was like PS2, PS3.
Oh yeah, PS2. There is a copy on PS2 for sure.
Yeah, so this game was a minute ago. Okay, but they came out with a sequel, a direct sequel called The Lost Hero, and it came out just a couple of days ago. It is still a really nice tactical RPG that's a little bit more on the unconventional side. For those who have played, what's that other game called? What's the other game that comes from the same company?
Oh, like Guruman or gosh, what's there's
No,
a
Disgaea.
this
Yeah,
guy.
if you
Oh
guys played
yes,
Disgaea,
NIS.
yeah,
Yes.
you may be somewhat familiar because there's some things that are common, but this game does its own thing too. So this is not like Disgaea but reskinned with other characters. Like no, it's just it happens to come from the same company. They have some ideas that translates over, but then they also do a lot of unique things, like such as not having a perfectly square grid.
Hmm.
They had these like radius system.
Yeah.
It's really fun. I loved the previous game, and if I have time, I would love to play this sequel.
Awesome.
Yeah. So this came out on the 30th on PS4, 5, Switch, and PC via Steam. There is limited edition for the physical release as PS4, 5, and Switch at the Nipponichi Software America at the Nisa store. So check them out if you're interested. Up next, we got an indie title called Rift of the Necrodancer. This is the game that Derek keeps mistaking for
It is.
the
Crypt
Necromancer
of the
game. Yeah,
Necromancer. Yeah.
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 So this is called Rift of the Necrodancer. A
Yes.
play on word from their previous game. Let's take a look at this one as well.
All right. Well, that didn't work. Let me try that again.
Yeah, let's try that again.
Let's try that one more time.
There should be a whole 20 seconds of this.
There we go.
There's some rhythm game going on, as one would expect, because even the previous title has a lot of like rhythm.
This looks kind of different though from what I've seen in the past from Necrodancer. Like,
definitely.
wasn't there originally like pixel art stuff and stuff in the original?
Yes. This is definitely like a kind of a different art style, and you know, the gameplay is completely different.
Yeah.
So it's not like a sequel per se.
Yeah.
But
It's more like
it is. Yeah, but it's the game from the same studio. So if you like their previous stuff, like and you take a look at their Steam page and you think that this is something you might be interested in, definitely like wishlist them at least, even if you don't plan to buy it immediately. It's coming out on February 5th, so in just a couple of days, only on PC. The demo is available, so if you're kind of on the fence, you don't know what this game's about, that's why the demo is there, right? And I love it. A lot of the indie developers, especially, because they're pushing envelope, they're trying new things. It's really hard to demonstrate their ideas because there might not be anything that you know, they can draw direct parallel, right? So the best thing for you to do is actually just get on the demo and just try it out. If you see it and it's like even looks remotely interested, just give it a shot, you know, give it a try. It could be your next favorite game. You just never know, right? I found a lot of indies that way, and I'm just like, wow, if I had not tried this demo, I would not care about you. Like, you know, like, and then once I tried it, I'm like, okay, I'm sold. Now I need to tell everyone about this.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we're going to switch gears. Now, those are the games that are upcoming, but we have some games that were just recently announced. So we'll talk about some of those new games. And a lot of these are going to be tying into your recent adventures at MAGFEST, right?
That's right. So I did do a little vlogging, but I just have not had time to edit it. Like I thought about editing it and just kind of show you guys a little clips here and there, like, oh yeah, this is what MAGFest looks like. But unfortunately, it might have to wait for another day. But I can tell you about all the cool indie devs that I had a chance to talk to. So let me just tell you guys a little bit about MAGFest and why this matters, right? For those who are unfamiliar with MAGFest, it stands for the Music and Game Festival, hence MAGFest. There are all kinds of games that comes, tabletop games. They have a LAN room. They have all kinds of games. You know, it's not strictly like video games, but they even have like
tabletop and card games and such.
Yeah, they even have like what I can only describe them as like video games, but not like conventional video games. Like it's like special made hardware that they have programmed that works on TV. Yeah, and it'll play that
Okay.
one game and has very unique controllers that they have put together.
Like unique video experiences, like kind of like how
Yeah,
VR used to be in malls back in the day. Like,
kind
yeah.
of. Like there's this one game where like this one game where it is a video game in a sense that like there's a screen, there's a software playing, and you can
Hmm.
see the game happen, but it doesn't use any conventional controllers like the Wii mode or whatever. Instead, it uses a giant hat that's hung over, and then you have to like wear like one of those like like, oh, what do those call, like a sanitary like hat thing, right? And then you put on this giant hat and you try to balance this giant hat. And when I say giant hat, I mean like the size of like a Mini Cooper hat that they hang above you, right? With like, very securely hung over, and you
Huh.
carefully put your hat over, and then you have to step on this like balance scale thing. And the whole
This sounds too
premise
active
is,
for me. You have to stand and you have to wear a
yeah.
hat. That sounds like too much. Too
Oh, a
much.
lot of people were trying that game. That game looks so fun. I didn't have time to try it myself, but
Oh,
I
okay.
saw it. I took pictures. I filmed it. It was great. And there are lots of these experiences that are like tactile, like manual tactile games that like you actually have to touch a certain buttons and
Yeah.
play, but they're not like tabletop. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like something that you might find at like a fair or at an arcade,
Hmm.
right? So they have games like that where they're indie. Like someone just thought that this might be cool and they built it and they put it together and they showcased it at MAGFEST, right?
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So just to give you guys an idea, when I say indie games, like, we talk about indie games, we talk about indie games that are coming to Steam and console, like indie video game, but there are other kinds of indie games that would never hit the market.
Like one-off
And you can only
experiences.
experience them at these kind of conventions. So that's my
Yeah.
pitch to people who may want to swing by one of these days. Also, again, is music and game festivals. So there's a whole place where they do nothing but music for like 24 hours a day for 3 days,
Oh, sick.
nonstop. Bands, orchestra, DJs, they all do music, but game music specifically. So they'll do like
Hmm.
remixes, they'll do original compositions, inspired music. Like think
Yeah.
like is it OG
OC
remix?
remix.
OC remix, sorry. Think of OC remix, but like live.
Yeah.
That's what the music part of it is, and it's super cool. But back to video games, because we are a podcast that talks about video games. Over there are four separate um rooms or more like halls,
Hmm.
right? Think
Like
like
an
if
exhibition
anyone,
hall.
yeah, exhibition hall. Thank you. That's the right word. So
Yeah.
they're literally exhibition hall. There are four exhibition halls. They're huge halls. One of them is the marketplace, okay, where you can buy stuff from like artist alleys
Like
and
vendors and
vendors,
such.
right?
Yeah.
But three of them are video games, right?
Ooh.
One of them is indie, one of them is an arcade, and then the other one are home console games. So you can play things like N64, Sega
Mm.
Saturn, the old like Nintendo games. It's like volunteers. People just like, here's part of my collection. You have my permission to play it. It's
Yeah.
all locked down and very secure. So they have stuff like that over there as well. So it's got something for everyone. The arcade games are like shipped from Japan. You got a bunch of arcade games that you'll never find in your local arcade, right?
Yeah.
And you get to play them for as much as you like, provided that you wait in line
Immediately, like
for it.
Pop In comes to mind.
Oh yeah, there's so many of them. So many rhythm games. So many. And the entire back area is just nothing but rhythm games.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, like a third of the expo hall was
I mean,
just rhythm games
it's
for the
both music
arcade game
and
section.
games, so of course they
Yeah,
would be there.
exactly. And they're super fun. So I highly recommend it for anyone who has never had a chance to visit MAGFest, including Derek. I'm pitching this to Derek. I'm like, please come to my area. Please visit. I'll take
You
you
should
out.
be very glad I didn't come this year because I would have been a super spreader.
Okay, you're going to a convention. Like con flu is a thing. Like it's very easy. All my friends got sick from MAGFest, and I only
Fools.
didn't get sick because I got super sick from.
That's true.
I got
your
super
recent
sick
trip.
from Vietnam. So, and then I'm like, I have all this immunity by the time I got back to MAGFest. But a bunch of my friends got sick. One of my friends got sick and had to cancel her birthday this past Saturday, yesterday, as a matter of fact. So yeah, so a bunch of. In fact, we're about to talk about some indie devs that I had a chance to talk to. Half their teams got sick. That's why they took some time to get back to me. And if you guys are watching, for those devs that I've talked to, please feel better. I appreciate you guys getting back to me. But without further ado, let's talk about some of these devs that I had a chance to speak with, starting with a game that we had previously talked about, like a couple months back. We talked about
several months. I think we talked about that even a year ago when it was first announced.
Yeah, absolutely. And the game is called Hermit and Pig. And I finally got a chance to, not sit down, we were standing, and had a conversation with Nathan and Mason. They're two of such developers. Let's watch the video so that we can, not a video of our interview, but a video of the game so that you guys know what I'm talking about. And then we can talk a little bit more.
All right. Hermit and Pig want one thing: mushrooms.
It's a really nice game.
Mm-hmm.
And they bring up some
and one
notes.
other thing: to be left alone.
That's right. So I had a chance to actually sit down and play the game. Well, I actually sat down and played the game. And gave the battle system a try, and it is very unique. And here's the thing: when you're looking at like this, like it's hard to convey like how the game is actually played. Perhaps they're really just selling you on the idea of their adventure, and I'm sold, right? But I do want to see some gameplay, and how this is what the gameplay looks like in battle, but they're not showing you the mechanic. And I'll tell you guys a little bit about the actual game mechanic of the game. It is a very interesting story. The dialogues are really funny. So a little bit here. You see right there, like each of those attack has like a button combination associated to it, like left, up, down, left, right. That's just kind of to break up like the monotonous like battle, because you run into them, you just button smash, and you're like, is it over? So the designer decided that, hey, we're gonna add very simple command prompt to choose different types of attack, and you can see all the enemies that you run into. Let's say you run into a cockroach, and that is a cute, I cannot believe I'm saying this, but like a cute cockroach. And you want to defeat this cute cockroach in the forest. One of the attack that might be effective, like think Pokemon, it's like, oh, it's super effective. Might be Stomp, right? You would try to remember what Stomp is, and then you would hit the Stomp command. And then, if you hit enter in the right time as something that goes down, you might get a crit chance. Right? But you have to nail it yourself, right? So you're watching these gauges and making sure that you hit it in the right time. My feedback for them was that I find it really interesting, but I just cannot remember all the combinations. But I haven't played it long enough to remember it. But there were just so many. Like at the demo, there were at least like 10 of them. So there are 10 like 3-button combinations for each of the things. So I have to remember 10 3-button combinations and try to get them right. Now you can look at the combinations. In the battle screen, you can go look at the book and it'll list out all of them for you. But then you have to go back to the attack and then try to time it, and then try to time the crit. So it could get a little hectic. But I think overall it's really interesting, and I'm hoping that they can find some way to refine that a little bit. And it would make for a really cool game. But right now, like it just hurts my head a little bit, and maybe I'm just like not.
I'm definitely not built for remembering those sorts of things.
Yeah. So, my conversation with Nathan and Mason, we were talking. I asked them like, so what is the message that they're trying to bring to, the community? Because this is a super interesting game, like a Hermit and Pig. What is this about? Like, how did you get
Yeah.
this idea? And they basically said this. They said, the Hermit idea is about reconnecting with society. This is what like the idea of the game is, and I love this because maybe that's like the thing that draws me to indies. Like they have a simple message and they're effective in spreading this, and it's not like I don't want to like make it sound like I don't want to diminish what I'm about to say, but like sometimes when you play like JRPG or something, it's like 150 hours. This is some like grand ideas by human civilization and like a lots of sub ideas in there,
Hmm.
and that's great. But sometimes I don't have that kind of attention span for you. Like after 150 hours later, what were some ideas you were talking about in the very beginning of the game? I may not remember at this point. So to me, if you have a very specific thing that you want to share that you're passionate about, you could probably do it more effectively in 20 hours to complete a story with all the morals and everything intact.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I feel this is going to be. So it's kind of cool. I got to talk to them. Mason said that he's actually a comic book artist.
Oh,
And he's
cool.
got some published works for kids. So if you guys are looking for a published work from this artist, from Mason, there's a book called How's Cat Trouble? And it's like a book for kids. So I think it's really cool. They are hoping to finish this game by the end of the year. The gameplay should be somewhere between like 8 to 15 hours, depending on how you play the game.
Yeah.
So I am very excited to see what this game is going to be like. And I think you are because this game has some Earthbound kind of
It definitely has those
inspiration,
vibes.
right? It is Earthbound coded, right? I saw this game and I'm like, I think Darius gonna like this one, so
I
we
think
included
that's
it.
one of the reasons that I first had it put on my radar was like, I think you might like this. It looks Earthboundy. And I can definitely see some of those. I don't know if it's an intentional inspiration. I haven't talked to the devs, but I would be very surprised if they had never played Earthbound and came to this.
No, they had, yeah. When I brought up Earthbound, they had. No, I'm just kidding. No, they have accredited Earthbound as one of the inspiration. Other inspirations includes Bomberman, Katamari, Link's Awakening, and Paper Mario. And you know what?
Oh,
Maybe the
nice.
combat
With the
yeah.
with the button
So,
presses, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm excited to see how this game will come out. Hopefully at the end of the year, we'll see. So that's Hermit and Pig, and that's something that we had discussed previously. Another game that we had discussed previously, and I had never seen them at MAGFest, and I'm glad that they came by this time.
Yeah.
Is Kingdoms of the Dump. And if you guys remember this one, is because we've talked about it. Let's take a look at
Yeah.
the trailer.
And I got to play it once, more than they wanted me to play at the time. In fact, let's check out the trailer.
Yeah. They brought a new display, and I sent it to Derek.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they had a new display with like CRT TVs.
Oh, that's so cool.
Kind of like stacked up like it's like a garbage pile playing like the the trailer in there.
Yeah.
It was super cool. And then so I had a chance to talk to, I believe his name was Doug. I believe no, sorry, it wasn't Doug. It was Doug was someone else. It was Matt. Sorry,
Okay.
names are getting mixed up in my head. Yeah, his name is Matt. We got to talk to him a little bit. And he's one of the developers. So I didn't ask him a whole lot of questions about this because the thing is, Derek and I had already met the developers at Too Many Games earlier last year. So I would be asking them the same things already.
Mhm.
So I didn't bother with it. I really just, wanted to spend time trying to see like, when are you thinking that this will be done, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had a pretty
so
good
cool.
shot. This game, yep, 2025. So yeah, sometime
Oh.
this year is what they're hoping for, and this is another game that we're really looking forward to. If you guys saw the trailer, they have like what is that called? Like Mode 6 kind of map.
Oh,
And- yeah.
Mode 7.
Mode 7, yes.
Yeah.
So and it took some time for them to put that together. And if you guys want to listen to some of the things that we've already covered, maybe watch one of our previous VODs. Yeah, we
Yeah,
won't
maybe.
get too much into detail because we've talked about all these.
I mean, I do want to give some
already.
details because that trash can is in fact on the thumbnail. So,
All right,
the
sir,
cool
go
thing about
for
the
it.
battle system that I will just talk about real quick is that like
Okay.
it is a turn-based, grid-based system. So it's kind of in some ways a little bit like, it reminds me of Live Alive. So you have a small grid, but you can move your characters around in it, and the kinds of attacks that you do can leave status effects in an area. So like if you're fighting like a glass bottle, for instance, and you break it, it has like these shards of glass that affect that tile from then on throughout the course of battle. It's so cool. And you can traverse around these dumps, the whole area. When I was able to play it, you could just basically jump on all sorts of stuff and kind of go wherever you wanted to. Yeah, you could. Oh, the traversal in that game is so much fun. It's such a beautifully crafted game that just, despite the fact that it is made of garbage, it is so cool.
This game is literally garbage, and they're proud of it.
It's made by two real custodians.
Yes. Even on their website, there's like they stated that in their website. It's like, hi, we're real life custodians. We know a thing or two about this. They're subject matter experts. No, but it's a very compelling game. And it looks amazing. And the thing about a lot of these indies, again, as we've seen in recent years, is especially the 2D ones, I feel they can stack up against the
old schools,
big studios any day.
Like looking back, like comparing real old school to like today's modern old school, like man, they have honed the pixel art to such a fine degree at this point. It is so nice.
One man's trash, another's treasure. Absolutely.
100%.
That's exactly what it is. All right. So without further ado, let's move on to new games that we haven't talked about ever in HitPoint. Coming up is an anime visual novel about doing taxes by Dogwood Gaming.
Oh yeah, and that's why we're talking about auditing all of the games, all the indies at MAGFest.
That's right. And okay, look, listen, guys. I know I say that we don't do visual novels, and this one is different.
I'll tell you a couple of reasons it's different.
Yeah.
Now you feel free to correct me if I'm mistaken here, but from the brief little bit of research I did here, this one is launching exclusively for Microsoft PowerPoint.
Not exactly, but
well, let's check it out.
Yeah,
I'll put on the trailer.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Yeah, let's look at the game first.
Okay.
Oh boy. Is there no music to this? There should be music.
Oh, there is. It's very quiet. Can you hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it now. Okay.
Don't fraud my heart.
Don't fraud my heart. They're like, oh no.
What are you doing, step accountant?
This is what happens when Derek lets Baku take over the show. He's showing a visual novel. Oh,
I threw it in the thumbnail. The world may never know why.
The world may never know.
The exciting world of tax auditing.
Exciting. I'm not here for the anime wife.
Sounds like a very taxing
audit taxes.
Sounds like a very taxing game to play.
But look at this debit and credit.
Find true love. Oh my.
Your taxes.
Oh dear.
You know, these are some of the most well-dressed accountants I have ever seen in their office. Anyhow,
I better go talk to my accountant.
Oh, tax season is coming up.
It certainly is.
All right. So the thing about PowerPoint is not an entire joke. this game. So okay, yeah, most games are built on some kind of engine, right, or some
Hmm.
kind of like tool set that is meant for game development.
Yeah.
These guys decided, you know what we're going to do? We're going to build a fully playable visual novel in PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Yay! It is crazy. So I got to chat with their lead developer, and their lead developer, I believe his name is Esame. I spelled it out, but if I mispronounce your name, I apologize, sir. But yeah, it's built entirely on PowerPoint, and that's why I wanted to bring it up because
Oh
you
man.
know, you want to talk about being unique. This is unique. I have never seen a game built entirely based on PowerPoint as like the engine that runs it.
It is
Um,
really, really interesting. Really weird. I'm
or the
here for
development
it.
tool, anyways. Yeah. So, here are some things that they had told me. The memory limit for PowerPoint is they're hitting the memory limit. They're in like 2,000 like slides
Oh
in
my god.
PowerPoint, and they are still going.
Oh wow. They're
They're
gonna need
not
to
even
split
done.
this into two files.
I don't know how they're going to do this, but yeah, it is a visual novel based around doing taxes, and I think that they were like corporate taxes was kind of the inspiration for this.
Hmm.
They are hoping to release this sometime next year, because it's actually taking very long for them to convert the file from PowerPoint to exe. And something that I never knew, but I guess I should have known, is that if you want to put a game on Steam,
Hmm.
it has to be exe.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I
Okay,
guess that
so
makes sense.
so they're like, well, no one has really done this before because no one has really built a game in PowerPoint and tried to convert it to exe and then put it
Hmm.
on Steam. So I wish them the best of luck, especially to the lead developer, a lead programmer, whom I had a chance to speak with. Um, I mean, they're wholly responsible in doing just that thing.
Wow.
So I
May
wish
I
them the best of luck.
may I just say, what sometimes people apply for jobs and on
Right.
your resume they might say something like proficient in Microsoft PowerPoint or something of the sort. Can I
Hmm.
can I just say that unless you can do this, you are no longer allowed to say proficient in PowerPoint. This raises the bar. Like,
This raises the bar, absolutely. You remember this? Have I? Do you remember this one like Japanese man who like makes? He's like an ex corporate like salary man, and he used to do a lot of Excel spreadsheets. And then when he
uh-huh.
retired, he didn't know what to do, so that he started like making pictures in Excel.
It sounds very
And
familiar, yeah.
yeah, they turn into like this like he turns into this sensation, and now he's selling his works for like 10, $20,000 pictures
Jeez.
on Excel, completely drawn in Excel. And I'm just like, well, the Microsoft tools, man, I'm telling you guys, you just gotta find,
You find your niche,
interesting
you
ways.
can be
Yeah.
successful. That's Don't quit believing. One day.
Think
I,
about
I
what we
wonder if
can
this
do with
started off as
words.
just an idea of like someone like, I'm just gonna dick around at work today. I don't know. What am I gonna do? Here's a visual novel. Lol.
I'm gonna make a game about tax evasion. I mean, no, tax auditing on
Yeah.
PowerPoint.
Besides, they already did a JRPG about tax fraud, and that is or rather, Turnip Boy commits tax evasion. Yes, that is an actual game. So, you know,
Oh my god.
there you go.
So, next up, we've got another game. This time it's a 2D tactical fantasy RPG that's been inspired by Fire Emblem called Advent of the Reaper. Let's take a look
Mhm.
at that as well.
All right.
Advent of the Reaper. Yeah. So for this game, and we may not have to watch the entire trailer, but they're fairly early in development right now, and their entire team are just consists of hobbyists. Like no one's doing this like full time at all.
Oh.
Yeah, so had a chance to speak with their project lead. His name was Doug. Hello, Doug. And let's see, I got a bunch of notes. Yeah. So they were saying like Fire Emblem was like, you know, his absolute favorite game, and he also did some comic book back in high school. And you know what happened is COVID happened.
Yeah.
And so
did it? I never noticed.
Yeah, well, you must have been living under a boulder. Well, I mean, but you found out the hard way that COVID happened.
Yeah.
Like, recently, right?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry again that you got sick, man.
Yeah.
But it was like a couple years ago when COVID hit peak and no one can go out, and they're kind of stuck at home, and they're like, what can I do? Why don't we, you know, try to turn this like comic book thing into video games?
Yeah.
And so they went to work, got all the people together, got like-minded people, got people who were interested in doing various things, programming, writing, you know, and they got to work. And I mean,
that is some sick animation.
Yeah. And this is like an early build too. Like they are going to continue to refine this and, you know, make it better. They said that they're hoping to get 4 chapters in by next year, and it will be 4 more chapters in, I think, by next year, and about 40 chapters when it's all said and done.
Wow.
The demo will be available soon. It is not yet available, but it will be available soon. They say that, you know, the interesting thing that they're trying to do with this game, and this is the benefit of being able to talk to the developers, that they can explain some of these things. They haven't implemented this yet, but what they want to do is setting some kind of sequencing system. So, for example, normal actions will earn certain kind of points that they're going to call SP, and then there's going to be like a shared pool resource, right? So in a tactical setting, you may decide to do like a weaker attack to gain points, and then let someone else do kind of like a big finisher, right? So you have to think about.
I gotta just interrupt for a second. The fact that the characters can use Reaper's scythes instantly ups the cool factor immediately. I love this. But continue.
Yeah, man. Well, advent of the Reaper, right? You've got to use the scythe. So I'm very excited about this because a lot of tactical RPGs focuses on like individual people, and yes, obviously there's some kind of synergy between where you place pieces and stuff, but you know, having a share like point pool that you have to really consider how you are utilizing your pieces, if you will. You know, because I look at it as a chessboard, right? And your characters to sort of maximize damage in the like long run. That to me feels pretty good, and I'm excited to see how they're going to pull this off. The game will bounce between 2 separate groups of people. That there are 2 like, you know, groups that are kind of sort of seeing different sides of the conflict, which kind of reminds me of a certain Fire Emblem. You know, but they're planning to have that, and then for them to sort of like converge like somewhere down the line, so that you can have like a unified front somehow. So here are the Angels versus the Reapers. So I guess that's like the 2 sides. We're looking at the Reapers just now, and here are like the Angels.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I love all the animations. Just beautifully done. You can tell they have some artists in charge.
Oh, very talented artists. I saw the game. I looked at it for a minute. I'm like, do I want to talk to them about this though? And I did, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is really cool. All right. I guess we can end the video because it's like a whole 5-minute long thing.
Yeah.
Unless you want to keep going.
No, I'm done. I paused it.
Sorry. Yeah. So we're looking forward to it. They're hoping to come back to MAGFEST next year. Yay. With a more polished game. So I am looking forward to trying it out next year. You know, one thing that I will say that I am very disappointed is that our friends, you know,
something classic,
didn't come by this year. So
how many Tylers did you run into?
How many Tyler did I complain to? More like, because I'm like, hold on a sec, Ty, you're telling me you're not coming this year. So no, I don't blame them. They're getting, because none of them
Mm,
only one of them lives in the area, so all of them
mm.
have to like fly in, and they're kind of getting like travel fatigue. So I get
Yeah,
it.
okay.
But I will say I am very disappointed. I made sure I had time to be there for them and QA and test anything they want and
Mm-hmm.
play anything they have for me. And then I'm like, I'm ready. I got the room booked. I'm so excited. And then I'm like, come on, Ty. So where are you gonna be? Like, where are you gonna set up the game? And Ty's like, yeah, we're not coming this year. It's like, what? No, yeah, not this year. I'm like, of all the years, you decide not to come this year. Like, yeah,
Well,
that's
on
right.
the bright side, I didn't go this year either. I think that's why. If I had gone, they would have felt obligated,
Oh yeah,
but I
you.
obviously had the COVID, so I did everybody a favor by not going.
Mhm.
Um, but it was good of everybody else to go. So,
Well, you say that, then you know what that means, right, Derek?
that I have
That
to go
means
next year.
that I have to drag you to MacFest for next year so that they will show up.
Yeah,
You're
I
setting
should probably
yourself
give it a go. I
you're
should.
setting yourself up right now, man.
I know. I know. I played myself.
All right. No, but I guarantee you will have a good time. And for anyone who's interested in MacFest in general, just like reach out. Like I can tell you more about it. I really do like this convention. And no, we're not sponsored. I'm not sponsored to talk about MacFest. But it's just a
Not yet.
really cool convention.
We
Not yet.
could be sponsored.
Wink, wink.
MagFest. Come on. It's all right.
Lots of cool cosplayers, by the way. Lots of cool cosplayers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Cosplaying is huge. Game cosplaying, not like anime cosplay. Game cosplays. It's a lot. It's a lot of things. If you like
Maybe I should work on
games,
my Olivier cosplay,
you
Just keep the
should,
hair
and you
growing
can
out
bring
and
it.
oh yeah.
Okay, so can I share a fun story
No.
about? Okay,
Okay,
then I
go
guess it
ahead.
won't. So my friend and I, on the last day of MacFest, we were coming in, and then we saw this girl dressed up as the main character of Little Goody Two Shoes. I don't know if you
Oh yeah,
remember
yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So and and not to not to be condescending in any way, but like it
Like
is
very
a relatively
Victorian.
niche game. Like it's not like a
Oh yeah.
huge game that even within like our sphere, it's not like super well known, right? It's not like a Persona. You see, Morgana is like, oh yeah, no, obviously that's P5. So I was like, oh, this is super cool. So I took a picture of it. I asked them for a picture, and then it turns out that person was also my friend, and she had a mask on, so I couldn't tell. And she had a
Oh,
wig.
okay.
She had a wig. She had contacts, and she was wearing a mask. There was no way for me to tell. It's just like a. She was like, "Hey, wait a minute, it's Baku. What the heck?" Anywho, that's not the main part, but so we took a picture, and then I was asking my friend, I was like, hey, how do you know about this game anyways? This is kind of niche. And he's like, I was like, did you play the game? He's like, no. I'm like, then how the heck did you know about this? And he
Mhm.
said, well, I know the voice actor who played the character
Oh,
personally. So I'm taking a picture to send it to her right now.
yeah.
Like, hey, saw your cosplay. So that's the kind of like serendipitous connection that you can expect to find in MacFest. I met the guy who developed Stanley's Parable. He never told me that that's the story that I like telling people. I was
Yeah.
playing a board game with the guy, and he's just like, yeah, cool. Hey, I'm going to this panel, so I'll see you at that panel, because I told him I'm running off to the panel. And then he walked in, he got introduced like from the host on stage. And he's like, hey, welcome. I forgot his name. Yeah, you may know him as
Stanley.
the developer of Stanley's Parable. I was like, well played, sir. Like, well played. But you never know who you will meet at MacFest. MacFest is the game conventions for the developers to enjoy. Definitely check it out. All right, and rounding out the MacFest coverage, we've got this one game that maybe the thing that I am most excited about, because of how polished I feel it is, and how how close I feel like it is coming out. So without further ado, it is an action and turn-based RPG hybrid from Chimera Labs
Oh,
called Other, Her Loving Embrace. Let's take a look.
okay. Let's check that out. I don't know. You hyped it up a lot.
Oh,
Did you hype it responsibly though? That's the real question.
Did you feel that was responsible?
Yeah. Okay. Oh.
So the cool thing about this game, I mean, never mind that it's got some really gorgeous pixel art.
Yeah.
You know, obviously there's some inspiration from, you know, like Zelda. There's some inspiration from
classic NES RPGs for sure.
Yep. But here's the thing. The way that it is a hybrid of turn-based and action is that your character goes into a turn-based situation, and then you select a skill or an attack, and then once you do that, you enter this battle, which is action-oriented, and then when you press a certain button, it becomes the skill button. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
that's
likewise,
cool.
when enemy attack you, so you'll have like a 10-second window to like accomplish your action battle.
Okay.
So in that sense, it is a hybrid. It is turn-based to choose who gets to go what action, but then once a person or enemy goes into the action, then it turns to a turn-based sequence. I mean, sorry, not turn-based sequence, action sequence.
Yes.
Action game.
Yeah, there's actually a game I played that also does this. It's been a hot minute since I can't remember the name of it, but this looks super polished.
Yeah, right.
And a bit more varied.
I saw that, like, wait a darn minute. Like, wow, this game is wild, and I'd never heard of it before. So I see, these are the kind of things that you get to discover. And not only that, I got to talk to the developers, which I will tell you exactly what happened.
Dude, the music playing in the background right now, it's such a vibe. It's such a throwback. Like, it feels authentically NES. And I love that.
So the development actually started in 2019. And they had lots of cool ideas about the battle mechanics. And before they settled on this, they tried a lot of different things. And unfortunately, a lot of those things didn't make it. But I respect that they tried and they see what worked and what doesn't. But the cool thing is, because some of those mechanics, they just can't give it up, they end up turning them to mini games in the game. So you'll find little mini games and you'll have to guess which one was supposed to be part of their main battle mechanics. They're just like, yeah, some of these things are fun, but they drag out the battle. And it's like, it's not practical at all, but it was so much fun. You
can't just throw it away.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a chance to speak to the artist, actually. His name is Cam. So the person responsible for all the wonderful visuals that we see. Yeah, they were talking about how the lead developer was a big fan of action games, namely Ys. Go Ys. Ys is a great action RPG for anyone who hasn't tried. And they want to try to make something that, they've always wanted to play. And I feel like that is a commonality between a lot of the indie developers. Like they're like, yeah, I want to make a game that I want to play, or I want my, loved ones to play. Remember, we had a conversation. What game was it? We had a conversation with a developer some time ago. I am just bad with names.
Infinity Knights.
He lives in
the
Japan.
Three Brothers.
No,
Infinity Knights Cross. No,
that's Australia. It's in our shorts. Was it David? It was David.
Maybe.
David. Oh, Forge of the Fae.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Forge of the Fae was like, oh yeah, I wanted to make a game for my daughter to play.
That's right.
So so this is really cool stuff. So I am really looking forward to them completing this game. I think they are saying that they should be able to release this game towards the end of the year. The demo is old, so if you're looking at their demo, they have made a lot of changes. So maybe wait for their new demo to really see what this game is about. And they also told me that they'll be adding many playable characters. So the two characters that we saw, like the wizard and like the boy, those are also the two characters that they had, at the convention for people to try. But it says, no, actually, there are going to be a couple more playable characters with unique skills and whatnot.
Like in different scenes that play out as you select an attack option.
That's right.
That's so cool.
So Really looking forward to seeing that one come out, and that basically rounds out my adventure at MAGFest as far as the indie games are concerned. I mean, there are a lot of other indie games I tried, but not all of them are things that I feel like the viewers may necessarily care about in our realm. But these are the RPGs that really got my
Those are
attention.
beautiful. You picked out
Yeah.
some really awesome ones. Thank you for doing that, Baku.
There were like 40 different like indie developers, all kinds of different
And how do you
games.
pick just the few, right? It's so hard.
It's hard. I walked in and I made my rounds. I looked at all the games. I looked at what they're about. I selected all the RPGs. I did all my interviews with them, tested them out, and then I went and played all the other games that I knew probably wouldn't make it onto the show, but are fun and interesting nonetheless. Now, of course, if you'd like that experience, come by to MAGFest. I'll show you around.
Oh yeah, and not helping things at all is the fact that I'm also just not able to do a 2 or 3 or 4 hour show today.
Oh yeah. So. Well, next up, it's just mostly just watching things. So let's just take a look at this Compa Hard 2025 lineup because so
this is a list of stuff they've announced or that are coming out this year.
Coming out this year.
Ooh, okay.
Let's take a look. So, some rule breaking here. All of these games are for the Japanese market only. Now, why am I talking about them still? Because Compa Hard has a strong track record of bringing games to the West and internationally. So I feel like we can still look at some of these and just see what might be down the pipeline. First up, we've got this game called Scarlet Salvation. It is a 3D third-person action shooter, as you can see. And I always feel like, this kind of game is just like, 3D action RPGs like cousin, except instead of slashing things, you're shooting things.
Sure, yeah.
So, by extension, you might be interested in that. This game right now is called Todokero Tata. Oh my god, this is so hard. Todokero Tatakae Calamity Angels. It is a new RPG that they're putting together, like a 2D RPG that they're putting together. It's got that like
paper doll
kind of cosmetic that you may not like, but it could be very interesting still. And this is a new RPG that's in development. It's coming out this summer in Japan. We'll see when it comes out now.
Oh, I know what this is.
Oh, Nep. Do you?
It's got to be Nep Nep, right?
It is Nep Nep. But it's a spin-off. It's called Hyper Devotion Noir, Goddess Blackheart, and it's not a new game either. This game is actually already available on Steam and maybe other platforms. They're only talking about this because they're finally having a Switch port coming out soon.
Very cool.
So not as interesting. This one is a new announcement. This new game is called Magical Librarian Ariana, the Book of Seven Heroes. It is a side-scrolling action RPG that's coming out for PS4, 5, and the Switch. I mean, not a whole lot is known. That's the small teaser. They're just saying that like this is coming. So more news to come. We'll follow that. Last but not least, there is a shoot 'em up game that's also going to come out called Zeleste. There's a Z in the very beginning. Zeleste. Yeah. So that's just a short and sweet Compa Hard 2025 lineup that we can expect to see this year. So
that's pretty sick
to see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice and compact. It's like a little Nintendo Direct for just Compile Heart.
Exactly. So I'm like, you know what? We can just look at this. I don't have to go into details of all these things. And in fact, I can't because there's so little information.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even warrant any like further investigation, at least not yet. When they talk about it, like for international release, we'll be sure to come back. And if they're any good, we'll definitely talk about it. While on topic, since you talked about Neptunia, I don't know why they didn't include anything. Maybe they weren't ready to really include anything in this trailer or this like showcase lineup. But they did say to Weekly Famitsu recently that the next numbered Neptunia game, so no spinoff, like a main game, should be announced this year. Announced this
yeah,
year.
that's sure.
The key word is announced this
We're
year.
going to announce an announcement. Yeah.
Yes. But it would be pretty huge because I don't think they have done a mainline game. And this is kind of like their flagship. So like, I'm interested to see what kind of things they'll bring. I'm really hoping that they would get away from at least some of the really tired jokes that, they've been telling the same thing for like the last like 15 years. Like, I'm like, all right, I get it, let's move on from some of these and maybe introduce some like new gameplay because it's always been like gameplay second, but Combat Heart's been working hard in establishing itself as like a serious contender for RPGs and not just we have waifus. That's still kind of like their bread and butter, but I think that they can do more and they've demonstrated that they can do more.
Yeah, they're positioning themselves for waifus plus.
Yes. So like Death End Request is definitely waifu. You can argue about the aesthetics and whatnot, but what I don't think people can argue about is the storytelling was absolutely incredible. And the gameplay was decent. But it's certainly gotten better over the years. Even in the Neptune series, it's gotten better over the years. And not just like a boring kind of like turn-based. They've really like switched things up, add different more innovative things to the turn-based battle system. So looking forward to seeing what they would do for the next mainline Neptunia game.
Heck yeah.
All right, this next thing is also just kind of a watch along only thing. I'm not going to go into individual game, but this is from the PLAYISM Game Show Mini. It is a mini game show. Similar thing, but there's like English version, and we'll include that in the description if you want to watch it yourself later. But let's go through it now.
Okay, you want to add that to the?
Oh yeah.
Here? Okay. All right, let's do that.
Yes, PLAYISM Show Mini.
All right, you can feel free to skip through as needed here.
All right, so the first thing that we're looking at, we've talked a little bit about this already.
Yeah, this is that fast-paced mecha.
Yeah.
What was it called?
Something Breaker. I wish that the name like somewhere in the corner or something that tells you
sense,
exactly what it is. I cannot for the life. Did they just put 3 heads in that mecha just now?
Maybe.
Cerberus. Call it Cerberus. Oh, Brick Arts.
There we go. Brick Arts 3.
Brick Arts 3, yeah. So if you like, mecha games, you like fast-paced battles, and they also have like a racing thing. So it's not just like for battle. There's also like races in tracks and stuff that you can race against your friends. So you can do like a different build.
This looks over the top fun.
Oh yeah, this is kind of what is that other like run and gun game that?
Oh, it reminds me of Metal Slug.
There you go. Yeah, it's like a different kind of like Metal Slug experience.
Yeah, Nitro Strikers, I think is what it was called.
This is what this game is called.
Yeah. Oh, this is cool.
Love the.
It looks ridiculous, but I dig it.
Yep. I love the fast-paced actions, man. So yeah, you guys like these run and gun games. I know I'll be playing this for sure. Nitro Express.
Yeah.
Nitro Express.
You awaken in a dark android in a
and then we've got I
believe
something. That this is a one of those
like puzzle games.
Yeah,
like
puzzle
hidden object or
what is it? What is that series of game called?
Like Professor Layton?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is called Eden Schemata, and it's coming out later this year. It's kind of like a mystery deduction thing, but you also have to do mini games.
Yeah.
There's one that has like a little bit of like a horror element to it, and you have to like escape. Zero Escape. Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Zero Escape kind of situation, I think. But it's not like a clone. Like it's probably doing its own thing, and the art looks great. So I'm sure a lot of people
really
will be
great too.
interested in that.
Momodora?
Yeah, so this game is actually already available as of January 11th. but they're just showcasing this because it's coming to more platforms.
Very cool.
Yeah, so if anyone's interested in this game particularly, it's actually already out.
It's very pretty.
PLAYISM has a lot of interesting indies under their belt that they're publishing, and they're kind of like a indie publishing powerhouse from Japan to the West. So there you go, Switch, PS5, Xbox coming out on February 6th. So in just a couple of days, actually.
On February 6th. Play as Najinka, whose older sister is a member of the
like all these games look amazing. And I just made a post on Twitter today talking about like how I like moving forward when I'm streaming, I'm going to focus a lot more on indie games. Like I said it last year and I tried it last year, but I'm going to do it like even more now this year.
Oh geez, you're never going to catch up on Trails at this rate then.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to catch up on Trails.
I'm almost there, man. I'm almost there.
The thing with me, okay, I think I can catch up on East. I don't think I can catch up on Trails. And I don't think I can do both. Like, if I want to catch up on both, it will literally consume my entire life.
I know, it's like Falcom at this point is making games faster than they can be played.
Yeah, I can't do it. There's no way. But I will still catch up on all the East games. I promise people that. But
all right, well, you can keep up on East, I'll keep up on Trails, and together we can be a complete Falcom fan.
Yeah, one whole Falcom fan. Not like those fake fans that don't play both of these games.
It's such a pretty game here. That's
yeah.
I could never probably pronounce it, but yeah.
And that's the thing about like PLAYISM that I want to showcase. This is why I want to showcase this. Like there is this company that's dedicated to bringing like some of the best indies from Japan and make it accessible to the international stage. You know, without PLAYISM, these games, you may never see them because they wouldn't have any way of being published or translated or localized. Now, I don't want to make it sound like they are obviously, you know, such a great company and
oh yeah, I don't know from the bottoms of their hearts, they're doing this as a service.
Right, but they are bringing a very useful service, and these games are pretty good. I played a lot of PLAYISM games. I was around when they first started publishing games like on Steam and stuff, and they're just, you know, doing more and more things every year. So definitely something you want to keep an eye on if you're interested in some of these indies that you may, again, otherwise never even hear about them because they would just be released in Japan and then they're gone the next month and then, you know, just whatever. All right. So now speaking of indies, our next game, and the only game that has nothing to do with MAGFEST and nothing to do with, you know, any kind of showcase is probably like the most anticipated indies. I'm pretty certain in me saying this for a lot of people.
For a lot of people, yeah. You got to qualify that a little more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's some really good looking ones too. But
oh geez, yeah. But you know, like we talk about indie developers like really blowing AAA studio out the water. And a lot of them are like 2Ds because I argue with people this all the time, but I'm like, look, a great 2D arts is just going to cost less than great 3D arts tier for tier, like at the highest level, if you want to compete with AAA. This is an indie developer that basically says, tell you what, we can do AAA in a way lower budget and way faster, and it's going to blow your socks off. And the game that we're talking about is called Clair, Obscur, Expedition 33 from the French indie developer Sandfall Interactive. They now have a launch date. Yes.
Oh, really?
Date. Yeah, that's the launch date. And it's not that far from now. Let's take a look at the trailer just to refresh people's memories of this, you know, game that we're so praising and hyping close to irresponsible.
I've been having nightmares.
Just a little bit.
Being out here isn't what I expected.
Do you guys remember this?
Yeah, I do. Wow. Man, it's pretty nuts that they were able to make this.
Oh, jeez. And like here's the thing, like just watching this is already like super impressive, but like seeing the battle, like they
Oh my God.
like the environment. The
Just
battle,
breaking
the
all of the
battle.
rules of indie RPGs here.
Yeah. Oh my god. Quick time,
What the heck, man?
mid battle, quick time actions. Ooh, that's one way of making sure you're still awake.
Is that a Kestrel?
Oh my God, it's so pretty.
I know. This is an indie game, guys. I can't stress this enough. Concord costs $400 million. How many of these could they have made? I wonder.
You
I
know what?
know it's apples and oranges, but come on. Investment's investment, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the end of the day, there's alternative costs, right? As in like, well, we know we lost like $400 million, but what could we have done with this $400 million? And you go down the rabbit hole of what the alternative cost to developing.
God,
Concord.
this is mind-breaking.
Amazing. The battle is, again, just these scenes are great,
Oh my
but when
God.
you look at the battle, it's just what? What?
Like, how does one develop that? Like, is it being independently funded by just like a single like multi-millionaire who's just like, sure, I have something to throw at this pet project. Technically, it's ND. Like, how?
I wouldn't doubt it, because
I mean, that definitely takes some very talented and skilled
it
people
wouldn't be
on
like
board.
it might not be like an individual millionaire pet project. It's probably more likely like a bigger studio that wants to do like innovative
April
offshoot.
24.
Yeah. And they will provide a resource and connection, but nothing else, right?
Yeah.
And that is one way that big companies stay innovative. And in practice, lots of big companies actually do it. You may not realize that. Like, there's a small brand that has these really polished product. Well, it's actually a subsidiary of a much bigger company, but you wouldn't know it because they don't advertise it.
Yeah, think of it another way. Clair Obscur didn't have to do a Kickstarter.
No, they didn't. It's
Like-
funded by one guy who really liked FF7.
Wow.
It is actually funded by one guy who really liked FF7. Jeez.
This is what I would do if I just like suddenly became wealthy beyond needing like, day to day, like, am I going to be able to have food today? Like once I'm beyond that point, I'm like, all right, time to fund all of the cool RPGs. I'm so glad that there's some guy out there in France living that life.
You know what that is called, right?
Philanthropy, heroism.
In other words, well, when it's used for good, but just in general, this is called FU money.
Yeah.
When you can throw money at people and just be like, yeah, F you, here's $1 million. And I'm not even, it's pocket change. That's the FU money. Yeah. So
I love it.
Now, when it's used for good, then it is absolutely philanthropy. It's just in this case, the game is selling for $49.99.
I know. They're not even selling it for like 60 or 70.
I know.
Meanwhile, people are like,
could have.
Meanwhile, people are like, I hope GTA 6 sells for $100 so we can start. It's like, no, guys, that's. I mean, not to rehash old arguments, but like, here's the thing. Once upon a time, games used to sell for the equivalent of $100. But when those things happened, the games were complete. They were on a disc, and they were pretty much done. They were complete pieces of art at that point, and then they were released, and you're done. And that's the end of the transaction. There's no putting the genie back in the bottle at this point with microtransactions and DLC and day one, like all this crap. So, anyways, all that to say. This is a perfect counterpoint to all those people who are like, well, they need to sell GTA 6 for, $100 because it's making us all look bad. It's like, well, on the other hand, they're making you look bad because you can't do this for 50. So
Yeah, man.
pretty crazy.
Development costs goes up in some area, but development cost also goes down in some area, and
Yeah.
that's the reality. So if you choose to not, do things more efficiently, then you are engaging in just bad like development or business practice, then that's on you, right? And you can't just transfer that cost over to the consumer. That's like not, consumer friendly, right? So that's what it is at the end of the day. Now, the reason why we're talking about this game again, other than the fact that we just want an excuse to geek out over it, is the fact that they have a release date, and that date is April 25th. I did say that it wasn't going to be that far away. It's only like 3 months from now.
Not even, buddy.
3 months, 2 months, 2 months.
That's just about. Well, it's just over 2 months.
It's like end of April, so
true. But February is a very short month, so
that's true. That's true. So yeah, like 2 short months and a full month. You're there. So yeah,
that's too much math. I am.
Now this game is going to be on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. So pick your poison and get the game. I will be getting it on probably PS5 if they have a physical, but PC if they don't have a physical.
Oh yeah, didn't they have a collector's edition that has sold out already?
I don't know.
I think I remember. I don't quote me on this because I think I vaguely remember this, but I also have COVID brain. But I'm pretty sure that the people behind it were like, "Wow, we didn't expect to have this much demand for physical release." Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, speaking of limited edition, Chain Echo. Oh no. I made a mistake. I'm so sorry, Derek. I'm gonna have to keep you on for just a little longer.
Okay.
I completely forgot about. Oh, jeez.
What did you do? What did Baku do?
I made a note to myself to talk about this, and I completely forgot about it. I need you to add one more video up for us, but I promise you it'll be worth it. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Jeez.
All right. Let's just.
Oh, yep. We were so close to moving to industry news, but no, I have to talk about this. We have to.
Should I just play the video? Just play this video?
Just okay. Let the people see this.
Roll the footage.
It speaks for itself. Will you look at that?
Wow.
Chain Echoes DLC. Chain Echoes Ashes of Elrant. New story, new areas, new enemies, new minigame, new music. Bam. How did I almost forget to talk about this? That's insane.
Oh man, you nearly caused a riot, I'm sure. They'd be like, Super Derek talks about Sea of Stars, but not Chained Echoes.
Let Derek sleep. Never. He's never sleeping.
Not now, after hearing that. Jeez.
Yeah. One of the, speaking of indie RPG darlings, Chain Echoes with his own DLC expansion coming.
Oh, that's cool.
You know how I remember this all of a sudden?
Because you mentioned the physical release of...
Yeah, you were talking about limited edition. And I'm like, speaking of limited edition, I still haven't gotten my Chain Echoes limited edition. And I still have no idea when that's coming. And speaking of Chain Echoes, here's the new DLC that they announced. And I forgot to talk about it.
Wow.
Oh, geez. How much money? They haven't said. So this is slated for Q2 of this year. Ooh. So it won't be long until this expansion. It's not just like tiny DLC. It's the whole expansion to the game. I don't know when it will come out exactly, but the time window is sometime in the second quarter of this year. So, which we're about to enter the second quarter, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So April, and April to June, it's like the second quarter.
Yeah.
So sometime between April and June, providing that they don't, delay. Yeah, this is phenomenal. And it's going to be available for basically all the supported platforms, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, Switch, and PC on Steam. So wherever you got the game, right, expect to get this expansion, which is the problem for me is because...
You haven't played the original yet.
Well, no, I can. And here's the thing, right? So the creator of the game, okay, he decided to do the right thing. And that is that he had authorized anyone who bought the limited edition to get a free Steam key. And I just really want to commend like the creator. It's a one person like development team. I mean, they've gotten help from people from things and that, but really it's just Matthias Linda, that's the person's name, and that's it. Like, and so they gave the key out for anyone who has not received the physical yet, and I still have not, and neither has Derek, and a lot of other people. So we would otherwise have not be able to play it. But here's the dilemma: is that where do I get the DLC for? Because I now have it on Steam, and I got the, I think, PS4 version. So, like, where am I buying my DLC? Maybe I'll buy it twice. I don't know.
Yeah, the last update on their blog, on First Press Games website, on December 16, their cartridges for Chained Echoes for Switch have arrived. That's all we know. So, like, at least we know that they've been manufactured. So by the time that they come out, Nintendo Switch is still. I mean, we don't have to worry about them like not making Switch cartridges anymore.
That's true. It'll still work on the Switch too. Look, my point of saying all this is not really just like to crap on, the limited edition, even though it is a crappy situation. But really to also remind people that Chain Echoes is developed by really mainly by one person. And it is an incredible game, and they're doing everything they can to do all the right things. So like just shout out to the creator. Like they're trying their best. All right, now that really concludes all of our games. I'm so sorry, Dara. I kept you up for just a little bit. Hopefully that was worth it, though. Like, DLC. Yeah,
that is very exciting.
All right, we only have one piece of industry news that I would like to share with you all this evening, and that is the Tokyo Indie Game Summit 2025 is coming very soon. It will be here about a month from now, from March 8th to March 9th in Tokyo. If you can be there for it, definitely try and go. But if you can't be there for it, you can watch it on YouTube. And if you don't want to watch it on YouTube, well, you can be sure that I will be watching the entire thing and then summarizing anything interesting for you to know about. Because I think we've seen some really cool indie games from the summit previous years, and we've talked about it, and they turn out to be amazing games once they get published and whatnot. This is no exception. So we'll be sure to follow up on this and all these other indie games and all these other games and like Compound Heart and stuff that may or may not get an international release. You can be sure that we will follow up on those, and when they are relevant, we'll be sure to bring them up again on HitPoint. And that wraps up the day.
Cool.
The link for the Tokyo Game Summit, not Game Show. Tokyo Indie Game Summit will be in the description. So yeah, you guys can check it out there.
All right. So that brings us to some super chats that we received throughout today's show. So we'll go ahead and wrap these up real quick.
Let's go.
Bro, dude, man, bro. Can you guess what he said?
No. Could you
Sure. He says,
say it out loud.
He says,
Say it really
I love
loud.
you, Baku.
Say it louder.
No, he says, I love you, Baku. In all caps. It's all caps.
Love you too, bro.
All right. Next
Thank you
up
so much.
From Anthony H, they say, appreciate you guys coming out tonight. You both rock. Well, thank you very much.
Shut up. You rock.
It's
you
very
rock.
It's good to be back, but I am definitely tired. Let's see. Next up, from Yum Game, guidebooks worth owning? What's the expensive one you've got? The most expensive guidebook. Ooh. I honestly don't know. I collect very opportunistically. I don't actually go out and seek guidebooks, and I have no idea what the market even looks like on those. But but I think that if I had to guess, the guidebook that I have that is probably most expensive is going to be like the Twilight Princess hardback, the thick. It's a thick art book. Also, I think it's really nice.
One.
It's got the foil cover with like, oh yeah, I think that's probably the most
it's
expensive
worth
one.
collecting. You know what I mean? Like there's value. It's
but then there's also
value.
But that's also probably pretty common. One of the least common ones. I have two very uncommon guidebooks that might fetch a pretty penny. One of which is for Lunar Silver Star Story Complete, the official strategy guide from Working Designs, as well as Dragon Quest IV for the NES, or Dragon Warrior 4 for the NES. I think that those are probably my least common guidebooks at this point.
I don't have any.
How dare you, sir?
Not a single one. I had a I had a Final Fantasy one way back, but I didn't ever imagine that vintage guidebooks would be worth anything. So I didn't treat it very kindly.
I take it back. Because there is one other strategy guide that I do have that's also very rare. And I also happen to know that it is worth at least a few $100s at this point. Last I saw it was worth a $3.
Which one is that?
That's the guidebook that was in fact included with Earthbound.
Oh,
with the scratch and sniff stickers and all that stuff.
That would do it. Oh boy. Yeah, no, that there you go.
That would do it. Yeah, that's it. That's got to be it.
All right, thank you so much for writing to us.
Yeah, and then Eagle Knight also mentioned here that Mrs. Eagle just shook her head at "Don't do fraud." That's right, guys. Don't do fraud. You don't want Mrs. Eagle to shake her head at you.
Do it.
Don't do a fraud.
Don't do it.
And with that, now you know, and knowing is half the battle. I think that that about does it for tonight's show. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us tonight. This has been a pleasure. I hope that I was able to power through this with the energy befitting of such a grandiose show. Some awesome RPGs. Thank you. Huge thanks to all of the indie developers for showing up at MAGFest. That was awesome that you all took the time to hang out with our lonely and weary wanderer, Baku-san JRPG. He's very lonely when he's out there and surrounded by people, taking the time to just, give him a place to exist for a few minutes. It's so nice of you.
They answered to my many curiosity about their games. They entertain my silly questions. Like, couldn't you just tell? It's like, I guess I'll answer you. Yeah, you should have seen the look on their face and how just weary they are as soon as I walked up to them. Like, here we go again. I know this guy, and he is
this freaking guy.
Freaking guy.
If you guys enjoyed today's show, be sure to drop a like on it. It super helps. And if you listen to the podcast on other platforms, hey, give it a thumbs up or a review, maybe. If you think it might be worth your time, we very much appreciate it. It helps us extend our reach to eventually take over the world and make JRPGs of our own. Anyways, have a great night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.